that's not going to happen. There we go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our pregame for Happy Half Hour brought to you by Carolina Retirement Planners. I am Sam Shukavage, and with me is my father, as always, David Shukavage.
Hello, everybody.
And we have a special guest today. So today we have joining us attorney Richard Horgan.
And if you've just tuned in or you're watching the recording, we always start a couple minutes early because it takes a while for it all to go through. So we're gonna banter about till we hit 4:30, and then we're gonna kick it off again officially. So this is kind of like, you can see the behind the scenes things where we're sitting. I'm here in our office at 7th and Market in Wilmington. Sam, where are you?
Sitting at my home off of River Road.
And Dick, how about you? Where are you located?
Camped out in my home office as usual.
Okay, so you know, it's
hey, Miranda. And just a reminder, if the way for us to know that you are here is if you comment below in the comment bar. Otherwise, we're happy that you joined, but we can't see you. So just type in when you get here, say, hey, let us know that you're watching. Tell us what you're drinking. We have about 1 minute till we officially kick off.
About 1 minute. Yeah, we got that clock tick over, you know. It's
good time to have a drink.
A good time to have a drink, you know.
Nice. Dick, what are you drinking?
Well, I guess you call it a screwdriver.
Very nice.
Okay.
Very nice. That sounds refreshing. Lots of vitamin C.
Oh yeah, I'm a health nut.
That's right. It's important to, you know, get the proper nutritional value from your drinks. It is 4:30.
It is 4:30. So let's kick it off all the way. Officially welcome
everybody here to the latest Happy Half Hour with Carolina Retirement Planners. And I'm David Shukavage, and you see my daughter Sam and partner Sam Shukavage. Today we have a special guest, and with us is attorney Dick Horgan. And I'll tell you, it's kind of special for me because Dick and I go back now, I think it's 18 or 19 years ago, when I switched careers from being the engineer, advanced profit analysis management consultant, and went into retirement planning. I needed a corporation, and I asked some friends at church who they knew, and they knew Dick Horgan. And Dick actually did my first incorporation. He did my own personal work and trust and things like that. He's done the trust for, I know, many people on this call. And I don't know, we're probably up to 200 or 300 people. Dick, I bet you that you've done
right
trust for, so it's just been nearly 2 decades of working together. And today we thought we'd bring him in here. But first, let's have a little fun. Sam, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking this is a French white. It's a Côte de Gascon, which has Ugni Blanc, Colombard, and Gros Mansan.
God, I'm glad you can pronounce all that.
It's just, you can get these really inexpensively, and they're just perfect summer whites. But I see we have some people who came in, so I want to give a quick shout out to hi Martha, hi Mom. My mom Sandy's on with us today. Bob and Val are here. Bart, good to see you, Bart. I think this is the first time I've seen you log on. Lisa, Jim, Pat, Eric. Eric, I know that you and Cynthia were on with us earlier, so it's really good to see you all. Thank you for being here again this week. And also, just a reminder that we are going to be doing a drawing at the end today for my magic hat. We have a lot of names in there.
What does the lucky winner get?
The winner gets 2 bottles of wine shipped directly to your door. And in my previous life, I used to be a wine rep. So we don't send bad wine. We'll send you 2 bottles of nice wine to your door.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. The decent stuff. The stuff that you could break out in front of guests and friends when they're allowed to come over again.
But tell me, you're drinking wine, but that's a little odd. You're usually drinking beer.
Yeah, today I just felt wine, and then Amy told me it is National IPA Day. So I feel a little silly. My husband is a brewer. a professional brewer, and it's National IPA Day, and I'm sitting here drinking a glass of wine. So,
And as usual, I am drinking my herbal tea, but fear not, there is something stronger in my near future. And Dick, what was it you were drinking there? Your
Orange juice and vodka, because I don't have any Guinness today.
Oh, okay. So
Oh.
orange juice and vodka today. Now, a couple other reminders for those of you who joined us. Say hi, but if you go on your Facebook to share and click watch party, it will tell your friends that you're watching this and they may come join us. And if you do that, send us an email that you did, and that will also get you entered into the drawing. It's just a great way to let other people know about these events and give them a chance to participate. So besides, to get into the wine drawing, normally you send in a question or you let us know you referred a friend. But if you hold a watch party, you can do it as well. But when you do the watch party, you won't be on, we won't see your emails, your messages anymore. It's between you and your friends. So you can say snide remarks about us privately with your friends on the watch party. But so another little something. And let's see, where do we leave off on highs? Let's say a few more highs before we get
Dawn
in.
is with us. Hey, Dawn, and Matt and
I see Paula, Deborah.
Paula's drinking white wine in a Manhattan.
Oh, okay. My kind of gal.
Yeah.
You know, and
Deb and Mark.
Deb and Mark, Heidi. Hi, Heidi.
Lisa and David and Kim and Dan. And
Dan's
Jane
up there in the
Parker.
mountains. I talked to them. Well, no, actually, I think now
cool.
he is at a campground in Georgia right now. I talked to Dan and Barb this week. It's been hot in the mountains.
Do you see Carter and Jay?
Carter and Jay
drinking a Waterline bourbon barrel aged stout. So if y'all don't know, my husband just recently got hired as a brewer at Waterline. That's actually where he is right now. Is working away.
You know, if I'd known, I went into engineering and I could have gone into fermentation science. Think of the possibilities, but you know.
That's pretty sweet.
And let's see, we also have Matt K, the K and her husband are here, and Bart and Charlene and Zach. So we better get
Zach says, don't worry, Sam, about drinking the wine. He's got the IPA covered.
Okay.
Susan and Barry. So we've got a lot of y'all today because we're going to be covering a topic that everyone is very interested in learning more about. We've gotten in a ton of questions from y'all this week about this topic and in the past. So we're really excited to have Dick here to give us a humorous yet informative take.
And we're going to now turn it over to Dick, and he's going to take it over, and he's got, if the gods of Facebook smile on us, we'll have a rather interactive presentation with voice and cartoons and all kinds of things. So I think at this point, Sam, you and I hide our video, right?
Yep.
Okay, so.
But don't fear, we're right here.
Take it away. We're here, but.
Okay, well, good afternoon, folks, and happy half hour. We got to keep it to a half hour, but here we go. First, I've got to thank Sam and David for allowing me this opportunity to Zoom with you guys. I've got a lot to say. I'm going to try and make it entertaining and informative, educational, if you will. David has asked me to leave some time at the end for questions, so we'll do that. So let's start. About 630 years ago, the English poet Chaucer made the comment, "Many a true word is said in jest." So today we're going to see if we can find some cartoons that will tell us a little bit, educate us a bit about estate planning. It's very true that there's a lot of truth in humor. And so let's see if I can work this new Facebook gimmick and go to our first cartoon. And I think in one moment we'll have it. Okay, I hope you all can see the caption. The psychiatrist is asking him, and he asks whether estate planning counts. The sun is shining. Estate planning deals with death. The golf course is beckoning. The beach is out there. We all want to procrastinate it. It's human nature. We tend to put it off, some of us more than others, but let's face it, we all tend to do it. but there comes a time when it's important to think about estate planning. You don't have to be like the cat in the next cartoon. Yeah, one good plan should do it. If it's properly prepared, put down on paper, not in your mind, put down on paper, get it properly executed and implemented, it'll do wonders. So the question becomes, when's a good time to think about estate planning? Well, that takes us to our next cartoon. And here you got the lawyer in the tie and the briefcase, letting Frosty know it's getting a little warm out there. Another way to look at it is go to Thanksgiving, and the turkey's getting some pretty good advice here. You all know what happens to turkeys. So since I love turkeys, I couldn't resist excluding the next cartoon. And it's actually true. You can put like warnings in your estate plan. If you die under suspicious circumstances, they should check out the wife or the son or whatever. Very few people do it, but you can do it. But the serious answer to the question, when's a good time to think about estate planning, in my view, is yesterday. Because we all know none of us are guaranteed another today or a tomorrow. And that unforeseen stroke or disease or car accident can change everything. And no one can change and amend your estate plan or create one for you if you've had a big stroke or obviously if you've died. So I think the snowman was getting good advice. If we go to the next cartoon, you got this infant worrying about whether he's waited too long to start saving money or, by analogy, to have an estate plan. This guy doesn't have to worry, he's got plenty of time. But the point is, hopefully his parents have given some thought to an estate plan, because it's never too late to think about it. It's really never too early. You all know from the financial point of view, the story that we've all heard, that if you save $2,000 a year from age 20 to age 30, you're going to come out way ahead and invest it. You'll come out way ahead of the guy who waits until 30 and does it for 35 years until they're 65. The first guy comes out ahead for the magic of compound interest. Same thing with estate planning by analogy. You need an estate plan when you get married. Well, for most of us, that happened a long time ago. You need an estate plan when kids arrive. And you need an estate plan to start thinking about it when grandchildren start arriving. So it's never too late and never too early. You should have one pretty much at any age once you're an adult. Sometimes the kids even beat you to the punch. And one of my grandsons has approached me on the very same subject, about inheritance. 12 years old, a little rascal. You really can't blame this young gal for asking. We've all read in the Bible, ask and you shall receive. That's what she had in mind. But as Sam and David said last week, this notion of creating a Roth for a grandchild is marvelous. You can create your own Roth and make them the beneficiary, or if they're old enough to have a job, and remember, they could weed your garden, they could empty your trash basket. You can find clever ways to give an 11-year-old some money, but don't give it to them because it'll wind up in an Xbox. Put it in a Roth, and then the miracle of compound interest will be a heck of a lot of money by the time the kid really gets older. Next cartoon is a guy with a great plan. He's given it a lot of thought. But where is his plan? It's up here. It ain't on paper. And you've got to have that plan. You can't procrastinate it. You got to take action and be proactive. It comes up in my practice all the time. I'm talking with my client who's in their 60s or 70s. Their kids, their adult children in their 30s or 40s. And I ask my client, do you know whether your son has a will? Or has he put in guardianship provisions for the grandchildren? And I get a blank stare. And a lot of my clients have not spoken to their adult kids about estate planning. And it's really a gift that you can give them. Doesn't cost you anything, just a good idea to see if your adult child with twins has a plan for those twins. Now here's a couple that may have waited a little bit too late to talk to their kids about the money. They're still they're long outgrown the red flyer, little red wagon. And it's true about estate planning too. You want to talk to your kids about it. A lot of my clients, again, don't know if their adult kids have a will or have done any provisions. And it's a very nice thing to do for your kids. Can be a little bit emotional, but it's a very good thing to do. If we go to the next one, I love this one. Good old Harry decided he could take it with him, so we got the U-Haul behind the hearse. Not a very good plan. We all know the pharaohs in ancient Egypt tried this. Didn't work out too well. The tombs were all plundered over the ensuing centuries. So you might as well figure out today where you want your stuff to go when you die. I think of it this way. I think most of us really give a lot of attention and love and affection to, and financial help to our children and grandchildren while we're alive. Well, it's very easy to continue that same love and affection and gift to the descendants, your kids and grandchildren, as part of an estate plan. Can be very valuable. I mean, look at it from a different perspective. I've seen a lot of 19 and 21-year-olds receive a big inheritance outright, and their life turns into a mess. They don't show up for work. They don't finish school. They wind up 2 weeks later, I told some of you, in Fort Lauderdale with a Mustang convertible. And their life is sort of messed up because they just inherited several $100,000, and they no longer think that life is serious or that they have to do much. Next cartoon illustrates another point. I love this one. Look carefully at the chart at the bottom of the guy's bed. This guy's health is going straight down.
Oh, no.
So what can the good doctor do? He can't refer him to a specialist. The ball game's almost over. So he says, well, how about a specialist in estate planning? Now, the point of this cartoon is really that there's a prescription from the doctor to get professional help. Estate planning is not a do-it-yourself at home, don't try this at home thing. It's often said that clients who write their own will have a fool for a client. Most recent example is a singer, Aretha Franklin, had 3 handwritten wills done over several years. They were illegible, inconsistent, and we've now in the first decade of trying to resolve that litigation. It'll be endless. And a lot of my clients will do something, seriously think of something like LegalZoom. Well, the problem with your off-the-shelf software is that it is a generic one-size-fits-all approach. The best way to show you how much wisdom there is, being facetious now, wisdom there is in using LegalZoom. I want to read a disclaimer in their fine print in the page of the website that says why you should use us. Just listen to this, it's astonishing. Here's what they say, quote, "We are not a law firm or a substitute for an attorney or law firm. We cannot provide any kind of advice, explanation, opinion, or recommendation about possible legal rights, options, selection of forms, or strategies."
Wow.
Well, that's a hell of an endorsement. Next thing they say, because they can refer you to local attorneys, quote, "LegalZoom does not endorse or recommend any lawyer or law firm who advertises on our website. And we do not make any representation, have not made any judgment as to the qualifications, expertise, or credentials of any participating lawyer." So basically, when you read it all, they're saying, good luck, you're sort of on your own. So it's really not a good thing to do. It can be very economical, but you tend to get what you pay for, like the rest of life. Okay, here's one where it looks like maybe the main beneficiary is the attorney. The estate plan is so darn complicated that there are going to be a bunch of legal fees down the road. So the guy on the right side is the attorney hearing how he's going to make money with a complicated estate plan. But here's the point. A good estate plan does not have to be complicated. The definition of a good plan is one that will accomplish whatever the client wants to do. It's the client's goals and objectives that matter. So someone has to ask in detail what the client wants to do in this scenario and that scenario. The job of the attorney is to educate, present the options, tell the pluses and minuses, and then let the client decide. Does the client want to restrict or control what the adult child does with the inheritance? Does the client want to protect their daughter from a future divorce or creditors or estate tax when the daughter dies for the benefit of the grandchild. All of those are possible. You can look at it as if you're going to build a house and you have the meeting with the architect. You got to talk about a lot of issues and make a bunch of decisions if the architect's going to design a house you're going to be happy with. It's the same identical concept with a plan. There's a lot to talk about. Approaching the right issues in the right order can be pretty straightforward and simple. The next slide illustrates a common problem. I love this one. The guy apparently had a plan in the past they didn't implement, and now they got another plan that's going to be easy to ignore. This is amazing. Clients will call me up, a prospective client calls me up out of the blue. Someone in their family has just died, never met them before, and they want me to take a look and help them through the mess. And very often the decedent, the deceased relative, had a revocable living trust designed to avoid probate. But they didn't bother, the attorney didn't help them, they didn't bother to put the assets in the trust. And the end result, the inevitable result is a whole bunch of assets have to go through the expense, delay, and red tape of probate. So the takeaway is pretty simple, guys. If you've got a living trust, make sure you've retitled your assets into the trust, don't forget about them, or that you've named the trust the beneficiary of the assets. Changing subject slightly. The father asked the kids, let's settle the dispute. And what's the first thing these youngsters come up with? Well, we all know our society has become very litigious. Here's another little illustration. The judge is looking down and we're going to have a duel. They're going to fight to the death in the courtroom. If you read the press, it's obvious that there's a lot of dissent and frustration and litigation in our society at all levels. Wealthy are getting wealthier, the poor are getting poorer. The gap between the two, the haves are suing, the have-nots are suing the haves. And a good estate plan will eliminate a lot of that and distinguish the heirs you want from the wannabe heirs. As one pundit observed in the next cartoon, people come out of the woodwork when there's money and someone has died. Classic case recently is the artist Prince. Had no will at all. You would not believe all the people that came out of the woodwork. A bunch of people claim they were ex-wives of his. Some claim they were ex-mistresses and girlfriends. One person came out of the blue and said they was a parent of his. Unbelievable. The court took a year and a half to get that one resolved. So having been a litigator in Wall Street for almost 30 years, my experience is true for a lot of folks. It's awfully hard to find a client who's happy in the middle of litigation, and it's awfully hard to find a client who's happy when the litigation is over. So litigation is something to be avoided, and a well-done plan will do that and stop any friction among the beneficiaries. Okay. I like this one too. If you really don't like your kids, you don't need to worry about estate tax. Let the government take about half of it and reduce the kids' share. But every one of my clients wants to keep it away from the government. And on the subject of estate tax, you probably all know that Trump doubled Obama's $5 million number. So today's number is huge, as Trump would say. I don't pronounce that right, but it's huge. 11.58 million for a single person, more than 23 million for a couple. That's the present federal law. So we're all safe. None of us have 23 million, or for that matter, 11 and a half. In 2026, the present law is going to cut those numbers in half, going to undo Trump's doubling. The relevant numbers will be about 6 million and 12 million. So it's obvious under the present law, and I got to emphasize present law, because Congress can change it anytime they want. In the last 20 years, they've picked like 12 or 13 different numbers. And the key fact I always warn and scare my clients with, the key fact is that twice in the last decade, Congress has moved the exemption per person down from big numbers to 1 million. So when I sit with a couple and they got 1.3 million, I don't want the survivor to wind up with 1.3 million, because none of us can control what Congress is going to do. And you want your money to go to children and grandchildren, not 40 or 55% to the government. So estate tax is alive and well as a planning tool. It's like the airbag in your car. You're glad it's there. You don't want the darn thing to go off. Okay, the subject of disinheriting a child. You know, the old classic, someday this will all be yours. Well, this elderly person changed the sentence. It's going to be your brother's. You really can do that, folks. I'm not saying you should do that, but the law is that you can leave your assets to anyone you want to. The next slide also says the same point. I like this one. Old dad got this nice inheritance, and now he's telling his son it didn't work out so well, so the son shouldn't expect it in return. Disinheriting a child or grandchild is serious business. If you have two kids, giving them 70-30 instead of 50-50 is serious business. And I always ask my clients to make sure that's really what they want. And if you're going to do that, just make it express, make it clear you're doing it on purpose, so the lawyer of the child who's disinherited can't say I was forgotten about. Or you leave them, another nice, clever way to do it, leave them $1,000. Then they're clearly in the will or in the trust, and they can't say they were forgotten about. So now we're going to go to one more turkey because I love this one. You know, this particular turkey's son is at the bar drinking, of course, wild turkey. His friend next to him is passed out, and the guy on the left is imbibing. So it brings up the subject of protecting your adult child from himself or herself. Plenty of ways to do that. Obviously, if your child is 15 or 17, you've got to do it. Well, what if they're 37 and somewhat immature? Maybe they made some poor decisions and you're fearful they might make some more. Maybe they spend every dime before they even get their hands on it. Maybe there's a little self-destructive behavior going on like substance abuse. And in that situation, the approach is like one of tough love because you really can control and regulate your adult child's access to their inheritance with a well-designed trust. And a lot of my clients find themselves wanting to do that. Another issue that comes up all the time is illustrated by this one. This poor guy is on his knees. He just spilled out his heart. And the first thing he hears from his bride-to-be is, what's in it, in effect, what's in it for me? Well, that's the subject of a premarital agreement. Now, human nature is such, and guys, this is just obvious. It comes up all the time. I have a client who's thinking about getting married, or they're telling me that their daughter is thinking about getting married, sometimes again. And I ask, well, are they considered a premarital agreement? And the client looks at me and says, oh, we don't want to do that. That's like too embarrassing, too upsetting. That would be awkward. That might offend the person. Well, in this day and age, it really doesn't. If it's presented the right way, the document is like, it's right down the middle. It treats each spouse equally. And especially when I see, and this happens a lot, a 65-year-old male going to marry a 62-year-old widow, and they each have their own assets. Of course, they want to protect their own kids. So don't be bashful if you find a child of yours about to get married. Discuss the benefits of a prenuptial. Doesn't have to be expensive. Doesn't have to be complicated. Now here we have the three pigs. I guess you only see two of them here. They built this house and they want to keep it away from the big bad wolf named Medicaid. So the notion is, let's put our house in an irrevocable, a trust that you can't change, you can't get it back, and then the state won't get it, Medicaid won't get it. Yes, that's a tactic. Do I ever use it? No, I've never done it. I've talked with clients about it. I've never done it. I don't think it's a good idea. You can, again, I'm not recommending this. You can give your house deed it to the kids, reserve a life estate to yourself to live rent-free till you die, wait 5 years, and then Medicaid can't get the house down the road. But you've given away one of your biggest assets. You're now at the mercy of the kids. Relationships change over time. Some adult children start drinking. Forget the fact that we're doing a half happy hour here. So it's not a very good idea. And I always discourage my clients from thinking about it. There's some other ways you might want to protect the house, but not that way. Okay, look at this couple here. you know, we all tend to care over time as we age about, are we going to be buried? Are we going to be cremated? Want a memorial service? What do we want to have happen when we die? Please take that burden, that emotional burden off the shoulders of your adult kids, either in writing or sit them down and tell them. It's an inexpensive gift to tell your kids what you would like to have happen so that they're not worrying, well, what would mom want me to do? Am I doing the right thing? Am I spending too much money, etc. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and follow these ads in the newspaper and prepay. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm saying just if you know what you want, let your kids know. It really is a form of a gift to them. And here we go to Fido the dog or Lucy the cat. I love this one. The attorney is going to be reading the will now. He says, the rest of you can go home. I need to talk to Fido because the decedent left the money of the estate to Fido. That actually happened. I mean, it's absurd. We all know Leona Helmsley left 12 million in New York. Some European baroness left something like 530 million in the 1930s to some animals she had and no family members. And that was in the courts for years. But it's very easy to take care of a pet. North Carolina has a wonderful, simple pet statute, easy to use, or you just do this. Quick example. A couple of weeks ago, a 62-year-old female has 2 horses. And so her trust now says that I wrote that if she still owns a horse when she dies, we're going to give $7,000 to her favorite riding stable who's agreed to take care of the horse. So if you can't find a friend or a close family member to take care of your beloved dog, then it's pretty easy to make arrangements in your documents. And so my last cartoon is this one. That's all, folks. Now we've got some time for questions. I think Sam, you're
actually, we have very little time for questions. We're right up against we're at 5 o'clock.
Hey, Dick, would you mind stopping your screen share, please?
Sure.
I think we try to keep it to half an hour because otherwise, boy, we could go on forever. But you know, we'll have to have you back, Dick, and maybe we'll have you back for an all question session.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Now, a couple of things, folks, before we get to the drawing for the wine. If you'd like to sit down with Dick or better yet, Zoom with Dick and look at your situation, there may be some people on the meeting today on the happy half hour. This is, boy, you know, it is time for me to do it. If you either email us at info@carolinarp.com or 815-3100, you can go to our Facebook page and there's contact info there. Yeah, Susan will set you up with Dick, a Zoom meeting with Dick, and you can sit down and talk to him about your, you know, your needs, where you are. I'll tell you, I have seen, and those of you who've been in my class where I show some probate slides, this is something you want to do. You want to do it right, because boy, if you do it wrong, the whole legal system is there to just suck the money out of you. You know how when you go into a closing, all those costs come out. Wait till you die and there's no one there to defend you. So get it done. And if you get it done, it's like an umbrella. You take an umbrella when it looks like it rains, it never rains. You'll live forever. So the other thing is, I always want to remind people, we have a new website called rogo.com, ROGO. It's a bunch of, I've taken my class and put it into little bite-sized videos where you can learn about taxes and investments and income and Social Security and all this good stuff. Growing every week, we add some more. So another piece. Let's see, do we have we probably have a few more people. Well, Sam, why don't you do your wine drawing first? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do that first?
All right. Y'all, I love doing this every week. I get such a kick out of, putting all the names in here. And there's so many of you who send me a question every week, and I'm just pulling for you to win. But let's see. Today's winner of 2 bottles of wine. Oh, this is one of them. Ed and Renee. Ed, I think that you've sent me a question every single happy half hour. So congratulations for being our next wine winner.
And
David, on those questions that you didn't have time for, if anyone wants to call me, I'll be happy to do a one-on-one phone call. There's no charge, and answer the questions. Sam
Okay.
had some good questions. I just took up too much time.
well, why don't you give him your phone number?
910-470-3343.
Okay.
Happy to tackle the questions.
Okay. And we'll, like I said, I think we'll have another one in the future. In fact, we didn't even decide what next week is yet.
I don't
gotta
think we
just-
have. The hurricane got in the way. And by the way, we hope that y'all are all okay for the hurricane.
We hope so too. And just a quick hi to Martha and Paula and Eric and Patrick and Paul. And I think we've got, I saw a couple of new names there too. Where were they? Oh, I've lost it here. Anyway, you know, this is, again, we do this every week here. It's kind of fun. And you'll get a notice here in the next day or two what the next one is. Send us your questions. And other than that, I guess it's, you know, cheers, everybody.
Yeah. Cheers. And we'll see you next
Again,
week.
Get 815-3100 if you'd like to book a meeting with Dick and rogo.com, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week.
Thanks, David.